Count your many blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings and see what God has done. Mr. Butterhead, what we're telling?
Well, today, since we're doing this in the middle of the night, by the way, if you haven't figured that out yet.
What?
Today is Halloween, which makes tomorrow All Saints' Day. Now, it's also known as All Hallows' Day, the Feast of All Saints, Feast of All Hallows, the Solemn Day of the Saints, and Hallowmas. The Christians celebrate this in honor of all the saints of the Church, whether they are known or unknown. As they like to go by observed people, the Catholic Church observes it. Eastern Orthodox Church, Lutheran churches, Anglican Communion, Methodist churches, Church of the Nazarene, Reformed churches, the Philippine Independent Church, and other Christian denominations. Now, basically it usually revolves around church services, praying for the dead, and something we kind of do all the time anyway, visiting cemeteries. Celebrated usually on the 1st of November in Western Christianity, or the Sunday after Pentecost in Eastern Christianity. It's an annual event. Now, about from the 4th century, feasts commemorating all Christian martyrs were held in various places on various dates near Easter and Pentecost. In the 9th century, some churches in the British Isles began holding commemoration of All Saints on the 1st of November, and in the 9th century this was extended to the whole Catholic Church by Pope Gregory IV. In Western Christianity is still celebrated on the 1st of November by the Roman Catholic Church, as well as many Protestant churches, as mentioned, the Lutherans, Anglicans, and Methodist traditions. The Eastern Orthodox Church and associated Eastern Catholic and Eastern Lutheran churches celebrate it the first Sunday after Pentecost. The Syro-Malabar Church and the Chilean Catholic Church, both of which have communion in Rome, as well as the Church of the East, celebrate All Saints' Day on the first Friday after Easter Sunday. And in the Coptic Orthodox tradition, All Saints' Day is on Nowruz, celebrated on the 11th of September. The day is the start of the Coptic New Year and the first month, Taut. Now, liturgical celebrations in the Western Church practice begins with the first Vespers on the evening of the 31st of October, All Hallows' Eve, while the kids are out trick-or-treating, All Saints' Eve, and ends with the compline of the 1st of November. It is thus the day before All Souls' Day, which commemorates the faithful departed. In many traditions, All Saints' Day is part of the season of All Hallowtide, which includes the 3 days from the 31st of October to the 2nd November inclusive, and in some denominations, such as Anglicanism, extends to Remembrance Sunday. In places where All Saints' Day is observed as a public holiday, but All Souls' Day is not, cemetery and grave rituals such as offering of flowers, candles, and prayers or blessings for the graves of loved ones often takes place on All Saints' Day. In Austria and Germany, godparents gift the godchildren an All Saints braid on All Saints' Day, while the practice of souling remains popular in Portugal. It is a national holiday of many Christian countries. The Christian celebration of All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day stems from a belief that there is a powerful spiritual bond between those in heaven, the Church triumphant, the living, the Church militant, and the Church penitent, which includes the faithful departed. In Catholic theology, the day commemorates all those who have attained the beatific vision of heaven. In Methodist theology, All Saints' Day revolves around giving God solemn thanks for the lives and deaths of his saints, including those that are famous or obscure. As such, individuals throughout the Church Universal are honored, such as Paul the Apostle, Augustine the Hippo, and John Wesley, in addition to individuals who have personally led one to faith in Jesus, such as one's grandmother or friend. Now, the holiday of All Saints' Day falls on the 1st of November and is followed by All Souls' Day on the 2nd. It is a solemnity of Roman Rite of the Catholic Church, a festival in Lutheran churches, and a principal feast of the Anglican Communion. Now, again, from the 4th century, there existed certain places and at sporadic intervals a feast day to commemorate all Christian martyrs, held on the 13th of May in Edessa, the Sunday after Pentecost in Antioch, and the Friday after Easter by the Syrians. Interesting thing is, I'm wondering what Antioch they're talking about, because I know of at least 3. During the 5th century, the St. Maximus of Turin preached annually on the Sunday after Pentecost in honor of all martyrs into what became today northern Italy. The comes of Würzburg, an early existing ecclesiastical reading list, dated to the 6th or 7th century in what is today Germany, lists the Sunday after Pentecost as Dominica Sanctorum, the Sunday of the Nativity of the Saints. By this time, the commemoration had expanded to include all saints, martyred or not. I'm not martyred! Okay, you're still counted. 13th of May, 609 or 610, Pope Boniface IV consecrated the Pantheon at Rome to the Blessed Virgin Mary and all the martyrs, ordering an anniversary. The feast of Dedicatos Mater ad Martes has been celebrated. Guys, I sound like I know Rome. Celebrated at Rome ever since, and it suggested the 13th of May was chosen by the Pope and earliest by Christians in Edessa because it was the date of the Roman pagan festival of Lemuria, in which benevolent and restless spirits of the dead were propopulated. Some liturgists based the idea of Lemuria was the origin of all saints on their identical dates and the similar theme of all the dead. Now, Pope Gregory III dedicated an oratory to the old St. Peter's Basilica to the relics of the holy apostles and all saints, martyrs, and confessors of all just made perfect who are at rest throughout the world. Well, yeah, that's a mouthful.
Yes.
Some sources say Gregory III dedicated the oratory on the 1st of November, and that's why the date became All Saints' Day. Other sources say Gregory III held a synod to condemn iconoclasm on the 1st of November in 731, but he dedicated the All Saints Oratory on Palm Sunday, the 12th of April, 732. By 800, there is evidence that the churches in Ireland, Northumbria, England and Scotland, and Bavaria, Germany, were holding a feast commemorating All Saints on the 1st of November. Some manuscripts of the Irish Martyrology of Talat and Martyrology of Ognius, which date to this time, have a commemoration of all saints of the world on the 1st of November. In the late 790s, Alcuin of Northumbria recommended holding a feast on the 1st of November to a friend, Arnold of Salzburg, in Bavaria. Alcuin then used his influence with Charlemagne to introduce the Irish Northumbrian Feast of All Saints to the Frankish kingdom. It's like, let's go around and have a talk with a lot of important people, and let's make a holiday of it.
Why not?
Great idea. Some scholars propose that the churches in British Isles began celebrating All Saints on the 1st of November in the 8th century to coincide with or replace the Celtic festival known in Ireland and Scotland as Samhain. I know about that one. James Fraser represents this school of thought by arguing that the 1st of November was chosen because Samhain on that date was the Celtic festival of the dead. Ronald Hutton argues that instead of the earliest documentary sources indicating Samhain was a harvest festival with no particular ritual connections to the dead, Hutton proposed the 1st of November idea was Germanic rather than a Celtic idea. The 1st November All Saints' Day was made a day of obligation through the Frankish Empire in 835 by decree of Emperor Louis the Pious, issued at the instance of George Gregory IV and with the assent of all the bishops, which confirmed the celebration of the 1st of November. Under the rule of Charlemagne and his successors, the Frankish Empire developed into the Holy Roman Empire. Now, Sicard of Simonia, the scholar who lived in the 12th and 13th centuries, proposed that Pope Gregory VII suppressed the feast of the 13th of May in favor of the 1st of November, and by the 12th century, the 13th of May had been deleted from the literature books. This one didn't fit on our calendar, so we're going to drop it. The All Saints octave, what note are you hitting, was added by Pope Sixtus the Sixth.
Six of the sixth?
Yes, that's his name, Sixtus the Sixth.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, I would have a hard time. I'm not making fun of you, honest.
I'm trying to say your name.
Yeah, just trying to spit it out. Both All Saints Vigil and the octave were suppressed by liturgical reforms. How would you like to hit an octave and then have it rejected? This was suppressed by the liturgical reforms of Pope Pius the XII in 1955. Well, how pious can you be? Now, Protestants, hi guys, the festival was retained after the Reformation in the liturgical calendars of the Lutheran churches and the Anglican Church. In Lutheran churches, such as the one for Angel Church of Sweden, it assumes the role of a general commemoration of the dead. In the Swedish calendar, the observance takes place on the Saturday between the 31st of October and the 6th of November, so you got a couple days to aim for. In many Lutheran churches, it was moved to the first Sunday in November, and in the Church of England, Mother Church, and the Anglican Communion, it is a principal feast that may be celebrated either on the 1st of November or, again, the Sunday between the 30th of October and the 5th of November. They'll give you a whole week to throw at it. It is also celebrated by other Protestants, such as the United Church of Canada and various Methodist connections. Now, Protestants generally commemorate all Christians, living or deceased, on All Saints' Day. If they observe All Saints' Day at all, they use it to remember all Christians, both in the past and the present. In the United Methodist Church, All Saints' Day is celebrated on the first Sunday in November. But it is held not only to remember saints, but also remember of the local church congregations who have died. In some congregations, a candle is lit by the acolyte, as each person's name is read out by the clergy. Prayers and responsive readings may accompany the event. Often the names of those who have died in the past year are affixed to a memorial plaque. In many Lutheran churches, All Saints' Day is celebrated the Sunday after Reformation. It's celebrated. The date for Reformation is the 31st of October, so Reformation Sunday is celebrated on or before the 31st of October. In most congregations, the festival is marked as an occasion to remember the dead. The names of those who have died from the congregation within the last year are read during worship, and a bell is tolled, a chime is played, or a candle is lit for each name read. Depending on how many people died, that could be a very bright event. Well, the dead are solemnly remembered during worship on All Saints' Sunday. The festival is ultimately a celebration of Christ's victory over death. Well, that's kind of cool. In English-speaking countries, services often include the singing of the traditional hymns for all the saints by Walsham Howe. The most familiar tune for this hymn is Sis Nomi by Ralph Vaughan Williams. Other hymns that are popularly sung during the corporate worship of this day is I Sing a Song of the Saints of God and Ye Watchers and Ye Holy Ones. I've never heard of either.
Me either.
Yeah. Now, being the vigil of All Saints' Day in many countries, such as Ireland, the United Kingdom, the United States, and Canada, Halloween is celebrated the day before. During the 20th century, the observance is largely a secular one, although some traditional Christian groups have continued to embrace the Christian origins of Halloween, whereas others have rejected such celebrations. The idea is that, well, obviously, for Halloween, it's giving the kids something to do, so they're not, causing wrecks and starting stuff on fire, etc. Now, in the eastern half, the Orthodox Church, following the Byzantine tradition, commemorates All Saints collectively as the Sunday after Pentecost, All Saints Sunday. By 411, the Eastern Syrians kept the Chaldean calendar with a Kamataratro Confessorum celebrated on the Friday after Easter. The 74th homily of St. John Chrysostom from the late 4th or 5th century marks the observance of a feast of all martyrs on the first Sunday after Pentecost. Some scholars place the location for this sermon was delivered at Constantinople. The Feast of All Saints achieved greater prominence in the 9th century in the reign of the Byzantine Emperor Leo VI, or the Wise. His wife, Empress Theophania, lived a devout life, and at her death miracles occurred. Her husband built a church for her relics and intended to name it after her. He was discouraged to do so by local bishops and instead dedicated it to All Saints. According to tradition, it was Leo who expanded the feast from a commemoration of all martyrs to a general commemoration of all saints, whether martyrs or not. This Sunday marks the close of the Paschal season. To the normal Sunday services are added special scriptural readings and hymns for all the saints, known and unknown, from the Pentecostaриan. In late spring, the Sunday following Pentecost Sunday, 50 days after Easter, is set aside as a commemoration of all the local venerated saints, such as the All Saints of America, All Saints of Mount Athos. The third Sunday of the Pentecost may be observed for even more localized saints, such as All Saints of St. Petersburg, or the saints of particular types, such as new martyrs of the Turkish yoke. In addition to Mondays mentioned above, Saturdays throughout the year are days for general commemoration of all saints, and special hymns to all saints are chanted from the Otochitos. Lebanon, celebrating the 1st of November in Lebanon as a holiday, reflects the influence of Western Catholic orders present in Lebanon and is not Maronite in origin. The traditional Maronite festival is equivalent to the honor of all saints, and their liturgical calendar is one of 3 Sundays in preparation for Lent, called the Sunday of the Righteous and the Just. The following Sunday is the Sunday of the Faithful Departed, similar to All Souls Day in the Western calendar. In Eastern Syriac tradition, the All Saints celebration falls on the first Friday after Resurrection Sunday. This is because all the departed faithful are saved by the blood of Jesus. They are resurrected with the Christ. Normally, this East Syriac liturgy of the departed souls is remembered on Friday. Church celebrates All Souls Day on Friday, before the beginning of the Great Lent or Great Fast. Now, some of the happy little customs that they have in Austria and Bavaria, it's customary for All Saints' Day for godfathers to give their children a braided yeast pastry. In Belgium, Toussaint or Allerhuren is a public holiday. Belgians visit cemeteries to place chrysanthemums on graves of deceased relatives on All Saints' Day, since All Souls' Day is not a holiday. In France and throughout the Francophone world, the day is known as La Toussaint. Flowers, especially chrysanthemums or wreaths called corons de Toussaint, are placed on each tomb or grave. The following day, on the 2nd, is called Le Jour des Morts, or Day of the Dead. November 1st is a public holiday. In Germany, Allerheiligen is a public holiday in 5 federal states, namely Baden-Württemberg, Bayern, Rhineland-Pfalz, Nordrhein-Westfalen, and Saarland. They categorize it as a silent day when public entertainment events are only permitted if the serious character of the day is preserved. In Hungary, literally All Saints' Day is a national holiday, which is followed by the Day of the Dead. On the Day of the Dead, people take candles and flowers, especially chrysanthemums, on the tombs and graves of all their loved ones and relatives. Thus, many people travel around the country to distant cemeteries. People who cannot travel may lay their flowers or candles at the main Calvary cross of a nearby cemetery. Since only All Saints' Day is a national holiday, most people use this day to visit cemeteries and pay tribute to their past relatives. As in the case with every national holiday in Hungary, if All Saints' Day happens to be on a Tuesday or Thursday, then it's that week's Monday or Friday is observed as a Saturday, making the weekend 4 days long, and one of the previous or following Saturdays is changed to a work day. Traffic in and around cemeteries is much higher than usual on these days, with actual police presence.
Never seen that. We'll have to look.
Yeah. In Poland, Dzień Swedish is a public holiday. Families try to gather together for both All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day, the official day to commemorate the departed faithful. The celebrations begin with tending to family graves in the surrounding graveyards, lighting candles, and leaving flowers. The 1st of November is a bank holiday in Poland, with the following All Souls' Day is not. The Sudowski custom of honoring the dead thus corresponds with All Souls' Day celebrations, and is much more observed in Poland than in most other places in the West. Portugal, Dia de Todos os Santos is a national holiday. Families remember the dead with religious observances and visits to the cemetery. Portuguese children celebrate Pau de Pus tradition, also called Santo Rino, Baldino, or Feast de Luz, going door to door where they receive cakes, nuts, pomegranates, sweets, and candies. Trick or treat, Halloween!
Whee!
Spain, again, El Dia de Todos los Santos is a national holiday, and people take flowers to the graves of the dead relatives. The play Don Juan Torino is traditionally performed. Over here in the Americas, Guatemala, All Saints' Day is a national holiday, and on that day, Guatemalans make a special meal called fromage, which is made of cold meats and vegetables, and is customary to visit cemeteries and leave some of their fromage for their dead. It's also customary to fly kites to help unite the dead with the living. I like that. That is cool. There are festivals in towns like Santiago, Scatoprades, and Sumbango, where giant colorful kites are flown. I'd love to see that. In Mexico, these guys have the book. You have All Saints Day in Mexico, coincides with the first day of the Day of the Dead, Dia de Muertos celebration, commemorates children who have died, Dos Los Innocents, and the second day celebrates all the deceased adults. So kids, adults. The Philippines. All Hallowtide in the Philippines is variously called Unidas, from the Spanish honoris, meaning honors, as with honors. Todos los dos Santos, Spanish, All Saints, and sometimes Arag Nagpanay Yamago, Tagalog, Day of the Dead, passed away, which incorporates All Saints Day and All Souls Day. Filipinos traditionally observe this day by visiting their families' graves to be clean and repair the tombs. Go going, guys. Prayers for the dead are recited, while offerings are made, the most common being flowers, candles, food, and for Chinese Filipinos, incense and kim. Many also spend the day and ensuing night holding reunions at their graves and feasting with merriment. So they're having a party in the cemetery. I like that.
Party time!
You're hanging out with your kinfolk. Now, though Halloween is seen as American influence, this country has trick-or-treat traditions during Udas, which is actually much older. The tradition is derived from the pre-colonial tradition of, I'm going to butcher this, Pangugalaga. Basically, it means spirit double, and it was a practice of early Filipinos swathed in blankets going from house to house and singing as they pretended to be spirits of ancestors.
Singing mummies.
There you go.
Is that where Here Comes the Mummies came from?
I have no idea, but we should ask them. It was a practice of early Filipinos going house to house, singing and pretending to be the spirits of ancestors. If the owners of the house failed to give biko or rice cakes to the spirits would play tricks, such as stealing slippers or other objects left outside the house, or run off with the family's chickens. Some of these practices are still seen in rural areas. During Unidas, families visit the graves of loved ones. It's believed that by going to the cemetery and offering food, candles, flowers, and sometimes incense, the spirits are remembered and appeased. Contrary to popular belief, this visitation practice is not an imported tradition. Prior to the use of coffins, pre-colonial Filipinos were already visiting burial caves throughout the archipelago, as confirmed by research conducted by the University of the Philippines. The tradition of atang, or hain, is also practiced where food or other offerings is placed at the gravesite. If the family cannot visit a specific area in the house is set aside for ritual offerings, angel's room. The presence of Unidas on the 1st of November is not a pre-colonial observance, but an import from Mexico, where it is known as the Day of the Dead. Pre-colonial Filipinos preferred going to the burial caves of the departed, occasionally believed that the monster, half-vampire, or half-werewolf beings would take the corpse of the dead if they were not properly guarded. Watching over the body of the dead is called paglalame. However, in some communities, this tradition is non-existent and replaced by other pre-colonial traditions unique to each community. Unidas is also seen as a family holiday, where members living elsewhere return to their hometowns to visit ancestral graves. See, visiting graves is what do you want to say? It's been going on for years, decades. Now, family holidays, where members living elsewhere return to the hometowns. Family members are expected to remain beside the grave for the entire day and socialize with each other. Pull up a lawn chair, hon. Mm-hmm. Socialize with each other to strengthen ties. In some cases, family members going to graves may exceed 100 people.
That I'd like to see.
That's a heck of a cemetery visit. Fighting in any form is taboo during Unidas.
Well, in that case, my family can't get together.
I was going to say, that wouldn't work very well. Now, the role of the children. Children are allowed to play with melted candles left at tombs.
Well, that seems safe.
Into wax balls. Yeah. Well, I told you to be careful. The round balls symbolize the affirmation that everything goes back to for which it came. The living will return to dust from which they came, and in some cases, families also light candles by the front door, their number equivalent to the number of departed loved ones. It is believed that the lights aid the spirits and guide them to the afterlife. It's kind of fun. Now, November 1st, as they say, is a fixed date, public holiday in Andorra, Austria, Belgium, Benin, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cape Verde, Central African Republic, Chad, Chile, Colombia, Congo, Croatia, East Timor, France, French Guiana, French Polynesia, Gabon, Guadeloupe, Guatemala, Hungary, Italy, Ivory Coast, Lebanon, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Madagascar, Martinique, Peru, Poland, Portugal, Saint Bartholomew, Saint Martin, Saint Pierre and Miquelon, San Marino, Senegal, Seychelles, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Togo, the Vatican, and Venezuela. Some of the other days the holidays work into in Belgium, all Sundays are public holidays. Should All Saints fall on a Sunday, then a replacement day on the weekday of choice is given. In Monaco, if it falls on a Sunday, the next day is a statutory holiday. Back-to-back days off. In Sweden, an All Saints public holiday falls on a Saturday during the period between the 31st of October and the 6th of November, with a half holiday the day before. Both in Finland and Estonia, All Saints public holiday was moved from a fixed date of the 1st to a public holiday on the Saturday during the period between the 31st of October and the 6th of November. In the Åland Islands, the first Saturday of November is an All Saints public holiday.
Basically, they don't want to take a weekday off, so they're like, first Saturday, that's it, we don't care.
Throw a dart. In Montenegro, All Saints' Day is considered a Roman Catholic holiday and a non-working day for the religious community. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, is a public holiday. In the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, only. In Germany, All Saints is a designated quiet day in the states of Baden-Württemberg, Bavaria, North Rhineland-Westphalia, Rhineland-Palatinate, and Saarland. Similarly, in Switzerland, the following 15 out of 26 cantons all have All Saints as a public holiday: Aargau, Optional, Innerrhoden, Freiburg, Partly, Glarus, Jura, Lurzen, Nickwalden, Obwalden, St. Gallen, Solothurn, Schweiz, Uri, Valais, and Zug. If I butcher any of these guys, I apologize. I'm working as best as I can as a poor American.
And butchered all of them, but not as badly as I would.
Right. Although the European Commission does not set public holidays for member states, the 1st of November is a public holiday for the employees of the institutions of the European Union. In the Philippines, where there are two types of public holidays, All Saints' Day is a fixed date, special holiday. In India, All Saints' Day is considered a public holiday in the state of Karnataka and a Christian religious holiday throughout the country, which means it is often a common addition to the list of paid holidays at the discretion of the employer for those who wish to observe. It also happens to coincide with several state foundation days, as it falls on the 1st of November in several states. Karnataka Radhavatka in Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh Day in Andhra Pradesh, Haryana Foundation Day in Haryana, Haryana Pradesh Foundation Day in Haryana Pradesh, Kerala Foundation Day in Kerala, and the Chhattisgarh Foundation Day in Chhattisgarh. In Bolivia, the All Saints is a public holiday on the 2nd of November, unlike other countries which celebrate All Souls Day on that date. And in Antigua and Barbuda, the 1st of November falls on Independence Day, and in Algeria on Revolution Day, and in the U.S. Virgin Islands on Liberty Day. But folks, all depends on your opinion and your beliefs. All Saints Day usually celebrates on the 1st, and All Souls Day on the 2nd. You folks have a good week out there, and we'll see you next week. This is Joe for the Mud Files saying goodbye.
Goodbye.